Money Control is the #1 website for stock market research and all sorts of information. So today we're going to learn how to use India's biggest financial portal moneycontrol.com to study stocks. Hi, I'm Yatin Ranade and let's jump right into the website. So as soon as you go onto the website, of course you will be flooded with a lot of advertisement. So I would encourage you to ignore that. Yes, it's a website. We have a lot of advertising because that is how they make money. But we are going to make money from our stock research. So I want you to be really focused and just go and get the information that you need. Don't get distracted by the forums or the ads or the experts over there. The idea is to become a stock market expert yourself. Okay, so let's jump right in. So first of all, I'm going to go into its search bar to research any stock. I'll start with Reliance as an example. Okay, so you type in the name. As soon as the name appears, you can click on it. As you can see on the left side, you can see a lot of other options related to the same stock, but right now we want to get into just the stocks information. So I'm going into Reliance Industries. Okay, so straight away on the website, to look for a stocks information, go to the search bar where you see search, quotes and news and mutual fund NAVs. Type in the name of the stock. I'm taking Reliance Industries as an example, and as soon as you go to that particular website, okay, so first type in the name of the stock that you want to study. Here I'm taking TCS as an example, so I'm going to write Tata Consultancy. The first name itself is there, so I'm just going to click on it. Okay, as soon as you click on this particular stock's name, you will get to a page where you get total information about that stock. It will start with the market price on both NSE, and then you can also check other options as far as the price of that particular stock is concerned. In active market, there is a slight delay, but you'll generally get pretty latest price of the particular stock. So here's NSE, then we have BSE. If you want to check BSE's price of the same stock, you can also check futures price if you're trading in FNO, and of course you can select the expiry over here. Then even options are available. For specific option, you have to first choose the expiry, let's say 28th of July. Choose whether you want to see the call option or put option, so CE or PE, and then you can select the strike price from this drop down menu. Okay, now here they also have an option which I'm going to open on another window, where is the option chain. So directly from this particular section you can go into the option chain as well. Okay, and see what are the prices of the entire series of strikes at a particular expiry. Okay, now within that you also have the days range. That means what is the days high and low, and overall volume. So right now of course I'm in the option section. If I go to the NSE price, which is the equity price of the stock, I'll be able to see the 52-week range, but that is the highest and the lowest price within this year, and the volume as well, and the bid ask price. That means what is the demand and supply price that people are putting in. So this is how you can easily check the stock's entire price, entire segment of prices. So here you can check the price. Now once you know the price, of course we need more information. Here there is a section called know before you invest. Know before you invest, which is an analysis by Money Control. You can check it out. It gives you a nice SWOT analysis, but I again recommend make your own analysis. So I would not recommend you to depend on this particular analysis, because this is usually machine generated and it is not advisable to follow it blindly. You need to do your own research and then you can use it as an additional advantage or additional piece of information. You can just use it as additional info, that's all. Open price, high, low, previous closing rate, volume, VWAP is given, beta is how sensitive is the stock to index. That means if index moves 1%, then how much the stock goes. So 0.77 beta means it is slightly less volatile than Nifty. If Nifty goes 1%, it will go probably 0.7% up. Okay, so beta is given. Okay, upper circuit and lower circuit limit is given. Whenever you see this price hitting, the stock will go into a circuit. That means the trading will halt. 52-week high and low. Okay, TTM stands for trailing 12 months. So last 12 months, because quarterly results are still coming in and 1 year is not complete. Based on that, how much is the EPS, that is earnings per share, given right over here. Then TTM, trailing book value, right over here. So even valuation ratios are here at the same overview section. And price to book value again tells you how much is the stock's price compared to the book value. Then face value of a stock, which is very important for you to know about the dividends or the corporate actions will be taken on face value. Okay, market cap, an important valuation. What is the size of the company? That is also given. Dividend yield, that means how much is the dividend returns on that stock. And 20-day average volume, and finally 20-day average delivery volume percentage as well. So in this entire section you get quite a lot of information based on the price and the valuation of a stock. Okay, I usually compare the sector P and price to book value as a very basic valuation metric as well. So that's my habit. Of course you can use other methods as well, but it is really helpful to understand company's price based on price to book value. And now again, if you analysis really well, then this section will be really helpful for you. Okay, again, right next to overview there is a chart section. You can scroll down as well, or you can click on the chart tab. Right next to overview there is a chart tab. You can either click on it or you can just scroll down to get into the chart as well. Okay, so this is a proper technical analysis tool. You get to see a candlestick chart. As you can see, there are different time frames that you can select over here. It's by default it's on daily, but you can go into 30 minutes as well. Now if you want to go for lower time frames, 3 minute, 5 minute, completely up to you. Okay, you can also select the type of chart you want. If you just want area chart, candlestick, which is preferred by most people, I prefer candlestick chart. Okay, then there is bar chart as well, and there are many other types of charts which I personally never use, but if you prefer that, you can definitely add it. Now next is compare. If you want to compare this particular stock to another stock, so if I want to compare TCS, let's say Nifty, I can just add okay, let's just try with Nifty ETF, because that's your investment. So what are the returns based on, or what if you want to compare two stocks charts, you can directly put it on this particular segment. Okay, then you have indicator, all sorts of indicator. If you have used TradingView, it is exactly the same type of software that they have provided within the Money Control website. So whether you want to add Bollinger Bands, I'll just add Bollinger Bands as an example. You can just add it to the stock. Okay, now if you want to remove it, you can just go to the name of the stock over here or the indicator and click on cross, so you can remove it. Okay, very simple, easy to use. If you keep going on the right side, you will be able to see different type of settings. Whether you want to change color, You can also make it full screen, okay, because again I would recommend looking at the stock in full screen mode, because it is better to view bigger and clearer uh, bigger and clearer images as far as chart patterns and indicators are concerned. Okay, now from there, of course, you can take a screenshot of this particular chart. Okay, I'll switch it back to candlestick chart, and let's go back to daily over here. All right, so once we're done with the top side, on the left you will see a lot of different tools. But basically, if you want to set up a horizontal line which is support and resistance, you can select horizontal line or ray, click on it, place it over here. Okay, and you can also modify it using this tabs button. Then if you want to add a trend line, you can use the trend line function. Just connect two highs and you will get to trend line. If you want to understand technical analysis properly, I highly recommend checking out my course Stock Market Pro. Module 3 is all about reading charts and using these tools in the most efficient and profitable manner. Okay, the link for that particular course would be given in the description. It also covers fundamental analysis, future options, and of course stock market basics. So all these terms that are being thrown at you, you would be clear about it. Okay, now there are many other functions over here which I don't want to get into the details of. Primarily you will need support, resistance, trend line and indicators which you can place directly. Okay, let me try one more indicator. Let's say relative strength index, which is your RSI. Okay, as soon as you put it on the bottom, you will see RSI as well. So pretty simple and easy to use chart function, which can go full screen as well as in when you want it. Okay, so now if we move below, scroll downwards, there's MC Insight, which is basically money control insights. Again, a research given by them, and this is only for pro members. You do not need to take the pro membership to understand insights. If you understand the basics of stock analysis using technicals and fundamentals, you will be able to make your own insights. Okay, so I don't recommend it, but if you want, you will have to take the pro membership, which is the paid version, and then you'll have access to their analysis and insight as well. Again, if you go down, you get MC technical. So this is more of a mathematical information given. If you want to use pivot points, all the R1, R2, R3 and PP points are given. That is, your pivot point is given, including S1, S2 and S3. They also have a proper table for SMA and EMA for 5, 10, 20, 50, 100 and 200. The standard EMAs and SMAs that people use, you can just, if you want to just grab that number, you can directly take it from here. Okay, now let's go back to the next section. MC insights and technicals are also given over here, which I don't particularly use, but it's good to know. If somebody needs to know the information, they can check those tabs out. Then we go to price and volume, which is your performance based on 1 week, 1 month, 3 month and 1 year and 3 years. Overall price, has it gone up or down? Just a comparative tool, how much the stock has gone up. Right now, of course, it's fallen to the thanks to the correction that has happened recently. Okay, then volume is given over here. Those who want to check out average volume, which gives how much public interest is there in the stock. Okay, from here we're going to go into the next section, which is again news. Very exciting, but be careful with news. You don't want to get caught up in every piece of information that is thrown as news to you. Okay, what you want to do is you just want to check few important pieces of information that is relevant to your fundamental analysis, and most importantly, you just want to check whether company's fundamentals are intact or not. Okay, any news that impacts the long-term profitability, of course, is going to make the stock go down, and any news that is going to increase its profitability, then of course it's going to have a positive impact on the stock price. So let's check out news. Over here, this is an advertisement, so please stay away from it. Here we have here we have various pieces of news related to TCS. Okay, Now, for example, recession cloud looms large over IT sector's digital transformation party. Again, there's gloom and doom. News will be always negative or positive. You'll have to check through each piece of news and then put your own common sense into it. Okay, don't just get caught up with the headlines. I clearly remember the same thing had happened when President Trump was about to get selected and IT stocks were down. People did not have any interest in the stocks, and L&T Infotech stock actually listed in negative. But that was at 652 rupees. Right now it has already crossed around, I don't know, at least 10 times returns from there. Okay, so don't always pay attention to the news. Maybe it will be a short-term impact news which you can use to buy the stock. Okay, this again here there's a news which says hot stocks to bet on: Gujarat Gas, Avanti Feed and TCS. So this is basically a list of recommendations, and most pieces of news are recommendations by brokers, so you can downright ignore it, or if you have already done your study, then try to check what they are trying to say. Okay, I don't want you to get the habit of using somebody else's analysis as your own. That is again if you want to do your own research and become your own stock market expert. Okay, now if you want to see more news, you can just click on see more. Directly you will be taken to a page which will have list of all the news pieces back from 2000 2005. I think all the years of different headlines will be given over here. Whatever news that has been there on the internet, on the website moneycontrol.com, you'll be able to check it out. So I usually go through last 6 months to 1 year of relevant pieces of news, as and when I'm doing as and when I'm trying to study a stock. I try to go at least 1 year back and see what kind of different pieces of news headlines have been made by that stock, so that it helps me add to my study that has been done through the annual report, which we'll get to in a bit. Okay, now here on this page you can see various sections. I don't think you should navigate from here. We can get to this. This is actually an old menu. I don't know how long they're going to continue with this. I would recommend sticking to the new menu, which is right there on this page. Okay, so news is done. Then we have forum, which I want you to just completely ignore. Forum is a place where anybody can go and type in their own analysis. So this is one of the places which people enjoy the most, and I think that the most wrong information or irrelevant or unqualified information comes on these forums. Okay, as a beginner it will be very difficult for you to understand whether the information is right or wrong. Okay, you'll be tempted, but I recommend not to read anybody's personal views on anybody's stock. And remember, if you have to go and ask on a forum about a particular stock, okay, whether you should buy it or sell it, then probably you don't need to buy that stock. You should not be buying that stock because you are not ready, you're not prepared as far as investing in a particular stock is concerned, as far as the study behind that investment goes. Okay, so forum, I mean I just click and show you right now. This is where people will come and randomly give tips and advise and study. There is a poll as well, which again has no bearing to the stock's performance. In last 10-11 years I have never ever checked the forum or utilize any piece of information from the community voting. Okay, that is just for them to create user interaction, because people are very excited about stocks and they want to talk about it. But I would recommend stay away from this. Stick to your focused approach towards learning the stock and studying yourself. Okay, after the forum we go to research. Okay, now this is interesting. This is where all the research reports of the various brokers who have recommended the stock will be given. Now this is a little better than going to the forums, because at least here we have somebody who has given a professional research report on that particular stock. Okay, so as a secondary tool I always use this, because it usually summarizes a lot of things in the annual report as well, and you can use it to verify whether your study is correct or not. So apart from your own study, you can also read broker research reports, but keep in mind they have very a very professional and dense language which they use, because well, they are professionals and they have to show it that way. So make sure when you're reading the research report, you also keep a track of what are the words that you do not know, and try to get an understanding of those particular terms, so that your own vocabulary becomes stronger and you become a better research analyst yourself. Okay, so let's just quickly check Motilal Oswal's recommendation. Here they have given a buy rating with recommended price and target price as well, and if I click on this PDF report, it will take me to the actual report that the research team of Motilal Oswal has been put up. Similarly, there is Prabhudas Leeladhar, KR Choksi, ICICI Direct, various brokers and research analysts have given their ideas or whether to buy, hold or sell. I don't think you should use buy, accumulate or any particular advice by them, but definitely as a secondary method, use these reports to confirm whatever you have found out or whatever you feel about the particular stock. Now from here we go to the next deal section. Okay, so deal is basically block deal section. That means whenever the stock has been bought in large chunks, whether it's promoters themselves or big firms or FIIs or DIIs, people when they buy in large quantities, they have to inform exchange, and that data is collected and given over here. I personally don't use this section unless and until I see a bulk deal related news, and if the promoter is buying themselves, which is a good sign, so probably that can be looked at. But if you just do a simple Google research, even then you can see whether the promoters have bought the stock or not. So you don't have to actually go into the deal section all the time for each and every stock. Okay, then we have a section called as insider. Okay, this specifically deals with people who are related to the company. An insider is a person who knows about the company, is professionally linked to the company, maybe he's in the board members, maybe he's in the management. So that person's deals, that means if they are buying or selling stock, they again have to inform exchange, and that data is collected on BSE, which they reflect over here on money control as well. After you have learned about the insider trades, what are the management buying, let's quickly check the next section, which is your corporate action. Corporate action is basically any action that company or the management is taking which is going to directly impact shareholders. Okay, so what they have to do is they have to file it with the exchanges, they have to publicly announce whatever changes that they are making in the management, or maybe they have given out a dividend, or they are planning to do a stock split, so bonuses, rights issues, all these corporate actions will be available in this section. And of course this is almost real time. When they submit it to BSE or NSE, it is updated over here as well. All the announcements, board meetings, then you have dividends, bonuses, splits, rights issue, any AGMs coming in, that will be announced straight away or noted over here. Now very important, corporate action will help you whenever you want to set up or whenever you want to know about a record date of any company, because that is the date before which you need to be owning the stock to get any kind of benefits such as dividends or bonus stocks. Even in case of mergers, acquisitions or demergers, this is the place where you would want to go and confirm and verify the information as well as make note of the record date. Now once that is done, you can scroll down and come to financial, which is probably the second most important aspect apart from the annual report, or the most important section in the annual report would be the financials. So you can scroll down and come here, or in the top menu you can just right next to corporate action, you can select financials and click on it. Okay, so here what you can see is the valuation ratios are directly there because I'm on the so here when you are in the overview section, you will get to see the revenue of the company in net profit. For the last 5 years they've given it in a bar format, a bar graph format. Then you have EPS, that is earnings per share, book value per share, ROE, that is return on equity, and debt to equity. So all of this for the last 5 years is nicely placed in front of you to make a quick visual guess. This will clearly show you whether the company's these financial ratios or financial metrics are growing or going down. Okay. Then we have the income statements, which is also known as the profit loss statement. If you click on it, you'll get for the last 5 years, quarterly, half yearly, 9 months and annual. So if you select of course quarterly, then you get to see the last 5 quarters, then of course last 5 half yearly results, but I recommend only use quarterly to check what's happening within this year in the latest 5-6 quarters, and the annual result. Okay, annual result is probably the most impactful because these are big companies and it takes a while for them to realize their business goals, and which will be seen in their profit loss statement. Okay, so clearly you can see sales, other income, total income, EBIT, which is earnings before interest and taxes, that is also known as operating income or operating profit. Then you have interest, taxes and net profit. Okay, you really need to check if the company story is right. The numbers also need to show the same, and that makes a good stock decision. So make sure you check the financial statements. Here again on the next section, if you go on the top right next to income statement, you can check balance sheet as well, which tells how much company's assets are there, how many liabilities are there. Okay, what company owns and what it owns to other people, all of that is given in balance sheet. All the great investors that I know, the first thing that they check about the company is balance sheet. Okay, if the balance sheet is strong, that is when we call the company to be fundamentally strong. And of course you have your cash flow statement, so you know exactly where the cash is going as far as operating, that means operations are concerned, investments are concerned, and your financial activities are concerned. Now if you want to know how to check balance sheet, income statement and cash flow statement in details, I highly recommend checking out my course Stock Market Pro. In module 1 we cover these statements in depth so that you know each and every section, the meaning of it and how to analyze it. The link is in the description, you can go and check out and download the brochure from there. Okay, moving on to ratios, again an important fundamental criteria where you are able to check per share ratios like your PE, price to book value, EV, that is enterprise value versus operating profit, and price to sales ratio, which is very important when it comes to these days companies which don't have exact profits coming in. Okay, so price to sales ratio is also given over here for the last 5 years. Then you can check their margins, return ratios, liquidity ratios, that means how much company can the ability of companies to pay off debt. We have leverage ratios, again how much debt versus how much own money is there. Turnover ratios, very important when it comes to manufacturing firms, I believe. Growth ratios, overall last 3-5 years sales and profit, how they have grown as far as CAGR, that means compounded aggregated growth rate, is given over here for you to check. And finally we have valuation ratios. Okay, so that you know according to standard valuations what is the company's worth in the market. Now I don't recommend taking ratios as end all be all. You need to understand ratios are mathematically generated and they may not tell you the entire story. So do check out company's annual report, their management discussion as well, and then try to calculate whether the valuation is undervalued or overvalued, and have your own analysis as well. Okay, so of course this is only 5 years, but if you want to go into detailed numbers, if you want to go into detailed annual reports, if you want to go into detailed financial statements, then right on the right hand side column you can click on, let's say, balance sheet. You want to check detailed balance sheet, then it will take you to a more detailed version of it, which is more like the old format that they had. And here you can see all the breakdown of the entire balance sheet over here. Okay, and from here you can directly take it to Excel, or copy to Excel option is also given over here. Okay, if I say go, then it will take me to a section which I can directly print or copy. Okay, so that is in case you want to print and then check to make your own analysis. I usually print a lot of material because I don't like reading on screen, but that's my personal choice. You don't need to do it, you can do it on the screen as well. Okay, so that is how you can go into detailed profit loss statement as well. Similar section will be there if you click on profit loss statement. So I think for the first level of analysis you can easily go through this small section, not the small, the overview section, which is there on the first page itself. Once you have confirmed that I want to further investigate this stock, then I would recommend going into the detailed profit loss and balance sheet statements, and of course other cash flows and ratio statements as well. Now over here, there is always a confusion between what to check, consolidated or standalone. Consolidated statement simply means the company and all its subsidiaries or sub departments taken together as a net, as a whole. And standalone means company's primary business, only that financial statement would be available on the standalone section. So in case of TCS, you won't see much difference because their main business and standalone business is not very different. But let's say there is a company like Geo, their main business is into oil refining. So not Geo, sorry. Let's say there's a company called Reliance Industries. Their main business is into oil, but oil refinery, that is their main business. But they also have Geo as one of their subsidiaries, and there are other companies that they have as their subsidiaries. So if you check standalone, then it will only give you the refinery financial statements. But if you check the consolidated, it will include all of these subsidiaries like Geo, and I think the retail company is also there. There are many other companies that Reliance also holds. So to check whether you want to check consolidated or standalone will depend how big the company's other businesses are. If the company's 99% income comes from the, I first recommend to check consolidated statement because that gives you the final idea. Then you can check the standalone in case they have bigger businesses that you feel are going to contribute more to the company's income in the future. Okay, I would say if you're going in depth, then check both. Okay, once you're done with the financial statements, it's time to check the holdings. If you scroll down, you'll get to shareholdings, and you can also reach the same section by clicking on next to financials on the shareholding pattern. Okay, so here we get to see what is the overall structure of a company's holding. That means what ownership is there in the company. Promoters, how much percentage they have, then FIs, that means foreign institutions, DIs, that means domestic institutions, and public, that means any other person who's individuals, retail individuals, and everybody. So you get a nice pie breakdown of it. Very important to check the trends of holding, because if FIs are increasing the holding, DIs are increasing the holding, that is generally considered to be a sign that they are expecting the company to do better in the future. Okay, but if the promoter is increasing its holding, that is probably one of the greatest sign that you need to make a note of this particular stock, because they know the best that company, what the company is going to bring in as results in the upcoming or the near future. Okay, if you go below, you get to see insights as well. There is a nice summary. If the promoter has pledged, they'll mention it over here. Okay, over here the number is very small, but high amount of promoter pledge means a lot of company stock is owned by somebody else and they've taken loan against it. Okay, so be careful with those companies. And this is a very good sign. There's a very good section to check if the company's holding structure is good enough. Sometimes promoter holding is less or it's more pledged. All of that can be checked through this one quick section. Now if you want to go into details, you can see top holding. There's a button over here and you can check which are the specific names that hold this company. Of course, for TCS it's Tata and Sons over here. Then in FIS you can see if any particular name turns up. Now over here I don't see any names, but usually good funds or well-known funds or well-known private equity players, you can check over here and you'll get to see some fundamental value in that as well. Okay, because then you're placing a judgment on the fact that somebody well-known, somebody who's an expert has also invested in this company. You will get to see in the shareholding pattern itself. Okay, now next is the peers section. A very important aspect of fundamental analysis is comparing the company to the other players in the same industry. Okay, so without peer analysis you would not know if the company is good, that's good, but compared to other competitors in the same market, how is it doing? So in this section it gives in this section Money Control gives you a direct list of the top competitors in its market with price, market cap,